Et bonjour tout le monde. Voilà, nous avons ici un autre PowerPoint pour vous. J'espère que tout va bien. We're still in chapter 2a. We have this time forming questions and expressing negation. Negation is making things negative. So questions. Check it out. Point de départ. You have learned how to make affirmative, that's yes, affirmative statements in French. Now you will learn how to form questions and make negative statements. Forming questions. There are several ways to ask a question in French. The simplest and most informal way is to just make a statement, but with rising intonation. That means your voice goes up. In writing, simply put a question mark at the end. Check it out. Here's a statement. Vous habitez à Bordeaux. Let's turn it into a question. Vous habitez à Bordeaux? And you know that French have that sing-song in their voice. It's like, ah da 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 da. So the question is, goes up at the end. You live in Bordeaux? Vous habitez à Bordeaux? Or, tu aimes le cours de français? Using questions with rising intonation and tags mainly when speaking. We use est-ce que when speaking and writing. So a second way is to place the phrase est-ce que directly before a statement. Of course, you can't make your voice raise if you're writing a letter. So usually in writing and in speaking too, they'll use est-ce que. It's kind of like, hey, there's a question. If the next word begins with a vowel sound, use est-ce que. Questions with est-ce que are somewhat informal. So it's est-ce que, it's like, hey, think of it as, hey, da da da. There's no real translation for est-ce que. It's just, est-ce que vous parlez français? It's like, do you speak French? It just turns it into a question. Est-ce que l'aime dessiner? Does he like to draw? All right, a third way is to end a statement with a tag question. What's a tag question? Like, n'est-ce pas? Isn't that right? Or non? Or d'accord? This type of question is informal. Nous mangeons bientôt, n'est-ce pas? It's like, isn't that right? Don't we? On commence bientôt, d'accord? A fourth way is to invert, that means change, whoop, the subject pronoun and the verb and place a hyphen between them. If the verb ends in a vowel and the subject pronoun is il, elle, or on, insert a T between the verb and the pronoun, just for sound, so it doesn't sound like il. Inversion is considered more formal. So you may have heard like, vous parlez français? You can ask someone, parlez-vous français? Or, il mange à la cantine? Mange-t-il à la cantine? Again, you're switching the subject and verb. Use questions with inversion in writing and when you speak formally. Note that d'accord uses this style of questioning in the majority of its activities because it's preferred in many academic and business situations. And also, if you do go to France, then you would probably have more formal situations because you wouldn't know people. Therefore, it's important to have plenty of practice. Only subject pronouns can be inverted. If the subject is a noun, you need to add the corresponding pronoun to invert with the verb. Like, les élèves mangent à la cantine. Les élèves, you're going to think that's like il, I-L-S. So you're going to have to say, les élèves mangent-ils à la cantine? Nina arrive demain. Nina's a girl, so Nina arrive-t-elle demain? The inverted form of il y a, which is there is or there are, il y a is y a-t-il. Y a-t-il. So like il y a just means there is, but y a-t-il is there. And c'est becomes es. Remember, like est-ce que. Makes sense? Check it out. Is there a clock in the class? Y a-t-il une horloge dans la classe? Or est-ce le professeur de lettres? Use pourquoi to ask why. Parce que before, or parce que before a vowel sound to answer because. We have pourquoi and parce que. Pourquoi retournes-tu, Sophie, ici? Parce qu'elle habite près d'ici. So again, you can use pourquoi for why and parce que and because, and still have the inversion for the question. To make things negative. To make a sentence negative in French, put the ne before the verb, or an apostrophe before the vowel sound, and the pas after it. So you have ne pas around the verb, like je ne dessine pas bien, or elle n'étudie pas la chimie. Notice ne pas, or ne pas if it starts with a vowel. In the construction conjugated verb plus infinitive, ne or an apostrophe, comes before the conjugated verb and pas after it. More examples. Abdel n'aime pas étudier. Vous ne détestez pas travailler. Notice you put the ne pas around the conjugated verb, not the verb in the infinitive. So it's like doesn't like to study. Don't hate to work. The don't is around the hate part. In questions with inversion, place ne before the inversion and pas after it. Abdel n'aime-t-il pas étudier? Notice you got the ne pas sandwich around the whole thing. N'aime-t-il pas étudier? Or ne détestez-vous pas travailler? This will take a little bit of practice here. So again, we got the n'aime-t-il pas and ne détestez-vous pas. You already know how to use the expression moi aussi to express agreement. Here are some other expressions. Here are other expressions to express agreement and disagreement. You could say, oui, thumbs up, oui, or bien sûr, moi non plus, or toi non plus, me neither, me neither, you neither. Mais non, pas du tout, peut-être, peut-être. Again, let's try those. Oui, bien sûr, moi non plus, toi non plus, mais non, pas du tout. Peut-être. Good. Vous aimez manger à la cantine? No, pas du tout. And I think we learned this before. Use si instead of we to contradict a negative question. So if you want to say, yeah, I do. If it's a negative question, like ne parles-tu pas à Daniel? But you really do, then it's si. It's like, yeah, I do. All right, let's take a look at a few of these. Vous mangez à la cantine? Est-ce que vous mangez à la cantine? All right, for numbers 1 through 5, we're going to use est-ce, and then inversion in 6 through 8. How about number 2? Ils adorent les devoirs. Right. Est-ce qu'ils adorent les devoirs? Yeah, try to say it out loud. Numéro 3. La biologie est difficile. Est-ce que la biologie est difficile? 4. Tu travailles? Yeah, est-ce que tu travailles? And 5. Elle cherche le prof? Est-ce qu'elle cherche le prof? Est-ce qu'elle, Q-U apostrophe there, cherche le prof? And number 6, use inversion like arrivez-vous demain? Numéro 7, we have l'élève oublie le livre. L'élève oublie-t-il le livre? Or oublie-t-elle? We don't know if it's a boy or a girl. Oublie-t-il or oublie-t-elle le livre? Numéro 8, il y a 2 salles de classe. That weird one, right? Y a-t-il 2 salles de classe? And 9, il n'habite pas à Québec? Yeah. N'habite-t-il pas à Québec? Switch it around. Ne pas goes around the whole thing there. N'habite-t-il pas à Québec? And 10, c'est le professeur d'art. You got it. Est le professeur d'art? All right, très bien. Try a few exercises now and see how you do.